Faithfully delivering value, interpreting great books worldwide. Hello, this is Sally's Book Club. Today we're exploring the book The Secrets of Consulting, subtitled Wisdom for Seeking and Giving Advice. This classic in the consulting field was first published in 1985, reprinted multiple times with over 300,000 copies sold globally. And regarded as the Bible of consulting, it has greatly benefited countless consultants. A consultant is a specialized professional who provides expert advice to individuals or organizations using specific knowledge. Consultants create this impression, clear-minded problem solvers who, after 2 to 3 months research, deliver transformative advice, from product development to turning companies profitable. So why do consultants wield such influence? What's the secret behind this? Beyond expertise, they possess systematic problem-solving approaches, precisely what this book explores. Author Gerald Weinberg, among software's most celebrated experts, worked as developer, designer, professor, and consultant for HP, IBM solving complex challenges. He's also authored 30-plus books spanning software, coding, anthropology, psychology, and management. These books seem to cover different knowledge dimensions, but their core remains problem solving. For his contributions, he was among the first 5 inductees into the Computer Hall of Fame. Notably, Bill Gates and Michael Dell were inducted after him. Globally, Weinberg commands devoted readers who study his works and create fan communities discussing his ideas. This book distills consultants' thinking patterns and interpersonal approaches, teaching better problem solving and personal growth. Now, I'll introduce it through 4 key questions. First, how should consultants understand client psychology? Second, how should consultants solve problems? Third, how should consultants handle failure? Fourth, how should consultants improve themselves? Let's start with the first question. How do consultants grasp client psychology? You might think that since clients hire consultants, they want help solving problems, but reality is often not that simple. In the author's career, he encountered all sorts of complex situations. For example, some consultants walk into the client's office for the first time, and the client says, "We really don't have any problems here. There's nothing we can't handle." So if the client thinks there are no problems, why hire a consultant? Another example, when a consultant proposes a solution, the client doesn't want to implement it. Sometimes, even after a consultant solves a big problem and feels proud, thinking future cooperation is secured, but the client stops cooperating. These situations seem illogical, yet there are reasonable reasons behind them. Let's imagine a scenario. A tech company's programmers have low productivity overall, unable to meet development demands. Then management tells the development manager, "Go find an outside consultant to see what's wrong." It's not hard to see that in this case, the development manager and consultant have a competitive relationship. Precisely because the development manager can't make programmers more efficient, leadership suggests hiring a consultant. So, if the manager admits needing a consultant, it's indirectly admitting problems with their management skills, that they can't handle things. This point is clear now. Let's analyze the situations mentioned earlier. First situation. The consultant's presence makes the manager feel their ability is questioned, so they naturally insist there's no problem. Second situation. The manager might hire a consultant just to appease their boss, showing they're trying to find why efficiency is low. But if the consultant can't provide a solution, then the manager can tell the boss, "See, it's not that my team is incompetent. Current efficiency is already high." Trying to improve further is fundamentally impossible. Another reason managers reject consultants' solutions. The proposals are too radical. Consultants focus on solving problems, but managers bear significant risks. If he does nothing, things won't get worse than they are now. But if he follows the consultant's advice and fails, he might lose promotion chances or even his job. Third scenario. The consultant's advice works so well, it dramatically improves the development team's efficiency. But then the whole company realizes the problem was in development, so that department won't rehire this consultant. So, how can consultants ensure smooth operations and client recognition? The author offers 4 suggestions. First, when clients insist they have no problems, don't argue. Praise them and gently ask about improvement opportunities. Few admit they're sick, but most are open to improving. Once clients agree to improve, the second suggestion, stick to the 10% rule.
What does that mean?
Keep changes small, never exceed 10% improvement. This ensures noticeable change while downplaying problem severity. But what if the client's issue is huge, and even a partial fix exceeds 10%? Or when problems only have success or failure outcomes, with no 10% middle ground? Then the third suggestion, hide the excess impact, or credit clients entirely for major improvements. Make clients feel your proposal merely sparked their own solution. The author notes humorously, consultants who don't hide huge successes are like guests using napkins to clean shoes. They won't be invited back. To truly solve problems, one must disregard personal gains. Counting gains means you're not actually solving problems. While the first 3 target specific situations, the fourth suggestion addresses client psychology at its root. Set the right price, filters client commitment.
Low client fees mean they undervalue the project or you as a consultant.
Higher fees usually mean clients will value and respect your opinions more. If clients don't pay, they either want free valuable info or don't value your expertise, just casually asking. Such unequal transactions aren't worth doing. Additionally, the author insists on hourly billing over solution-based fees. This is based on 2 points. First, whether a solution can be found is inherently uncertain. Second, as mentioned earlier, many clients aren't actually seeking solutions. Thus, understanding client psychology is the first step in problem solving. All right, that covers part 1, how to understand client psychology. The author offers 4 main suggestions. First, when clients claim no problems, don't argue. Ask about improvement areas instead. Second, limit improvements to under 10%. Third, if exceeding that, give credit to the client. Fourth, learn to price projects correctly. Use cost to filter clients. After understanding client psychology, we move to part 2, how to solve problems.
The author presents dozens of problem-solving rules, summarized into 2 aspects: overarching principles
And concrete steps. First principle, you can never permanently solve all problems, because eliminating the top problem makes the second automatically become the new priority. This principle stems from the author's childhood experience. At 13, he worked as a supermarket stocker. Rudy managed the produce section, but Rudy struggled to display maximum fresh produce on limited shelves. Once, Rudy asked if the author had suggestions. After observing, the author noticed yellow carrots rarely sold, so he suggested removing yellow carrots for other fresh vegetables. Rudy praised the author and implemented the suggestion. But then Rudy asked, "Now which vegetable sells worst?" So, if consultants aim to solve all problems, failure is inevitable. Consultants must learn to coexist with problems, analyzing which to prioritize and which to defer. We'll detail this when discussing concrete steps. Second principle, no perfect solutions exist. Improvement requires sacrifice. What does this mean? For example, clients often demand, solve this at lowest cost, or use the best method. The author advises consultants to respond, then what are you willing to sacrifice? Not with, sure, I'll handle it immediately. Because perfect solutions don't exist. Lowest cost solutions often compromise stakeholder interests. Best method approaches inflate time and money costs. Thus, every industry needs compromise solutions. Example, reduce budgets while narrowing scope, containing costs within manageable limits. Following these principles, let's examine the 3-step method. 1. Identify problems. 2. Define solutions. 3. Implement solutions. First, identifying problems. To find problems quickly, the author invented the thumbtack method during software consulting. A software company sought help for low-quality products, but couldn't define low quality, just many complaint letters. His solution, a whiteboard and thumbtacks. As managers read complaints, he wrote product names on the board and pinned thumbtacks under each. After processing all letters, the product with most thumbtacks was glaringly obvious. This simple, practical method visualizes chaotic information instantly. However, the author believes an even more useful method exists: directly learning the client's history. This helps consultants understand how situations developed, internalize past mistakes and lessons, and provide better advice. But during this process, some consultants unconsciously judge clients or criticize their actions face to face. The author considers this a major taboo. First, the culprit might be the client or their boss. Criticizing them obviously offends. Second, decisions that seem foolish now may have been perfectly reasonable then. The author illustrates with Mrs. Audenhauser's white bread case. Her baked goods were delicious. Initially, she ran a small neighborhood operation taking orders and delivering fresh baked bread daily. As demand grew, she switched to a larger supplier delivering truckloads of ingredients daily. And the business expanded into a company with hundreds of employees and dozens of stores. Her bread reached more and more family tables. Once at a consultant gathering featuring her bread, everyone complained it tasted awful, like raw dough. Some criticized her supply chain and store locations, but the author noted that anyone in her position would face similar outcomes. In her small shop days, baking fresh daily ensured peak quality. Higher demand required baking the night before. Preservatives for next-day freshness inevitably affected taste. And wider distribution demanded consistent flavor, limiting innovation. Thus, understanding history to pinpoint problems is crucial. Next comes step 2, defining the solution direction. Typically, company issues distribute either evenly or with one standout problem. If complaints are evenly spread across 5 product lines, it suggests no major crisis, just manageable issues. The problem-solving mechanism helps them continuously track issues without letting any spiral out of control. So consultants should first understand the client's existing mechanism, then apply that framework to their recommendations, solving problems while building goodwill. If the client has one glaring issue persisting over time, say one product line accounting for 75% of complaints across 5 lines for half a year, consultants must avoid blindly fixing just that symptom. Typically, this indicates either inefficient problem solving or misprioritization of critical issues. First ask, why hasn't this been resolved in 6 months? Is it undiagnosed root causes or lack of solution capabilities? Why this specific product line? Faulty market research? Failed sales strategy? The glaring problem often signals deeper systemic failures. This makes disruptive change nearly impossible for consultants to push. Like the white bread, poor taste was the main complaint, but quality eroded gradually. Fixing it would require dismantling the entire existing system. Too daunting for both consultant and client. So what's the alternative? The author suggests breaking big problems into smaller, immediately improvable pieces. For white bread's dough-like texture, investigate additives, study competitors' taste, and feedback for gentler options, or shelve the big issue temporarily to solve simpler, low-risk problems. Even small wins build client trust, despite limited returns. Example, optimize bread supply chain, redesign logistics routes to shorten delivery times, capturing early commuters and boosting sales. This is the core guiding philosophy for consultants before starting work. Next comes step 3, actually solving the problem. During implementation, consultants face continuous challenges, primarily from clients. For example, clients endlessly asking details, stalling progress, or multiple internal parties proposing contradictory solutions. Yet these contradict each other. The author believes encountering difficulties is actually beneficial. If clients obey everything, it means they've placed full responsibility on you, demanding perfection.
So, consultants shouldn't fear difficulties. but hone their problem resolution skills.
How specifically?
First, make challenges public. When facing obstacles, don't internalize or resist silently. Express difficulties neutrally. Example response to detail-obsessed clients. I believe we can proceed without this info. Let's review existing materials first. This neutral framing avoids criticizing client needs. Saying you don't need this would critique their requests, becoming negative. After surfacing challenges, identify their roots. Endless questions or delays always have underlying causes. The consultant's job is uncovering them. Clients are typically risk-averse, prioritizing stability. Thus, analyze pros and cons together, pinpoint concerns to ease anxieties. To uncover plan flaws, ask, I know you can't think of changes needed here, but if you did think of something, what would it be? This reveals client concerns. If they still struggle, pivot. What's your favorite part of this plan? Then follow with, what's your second favorite? Highlighting gaps through comparison. The author suggests consultants can shift focus from change to maintaining stability. For example, ask clients, when implementing this plan, what's one thing you absolutely want unchanged? Targeted resolutions often work better than consultants unilaterally pushing solutions. This not only eases client concerns, but deepens consultant understanding of their needs. Sometimes benefits consultants see don't matter to clients, and sometimes clients resist cooperating. When clients claim nothing needs changing, yet remain dissatisfied, what should consultants do? The author advises, avoid deadlocks. Don't oppose clients. Remember, it's not personal. Focus on issues. When resistance stalls progress, withdrawing promptly can be effective. Once when communication failed, the author said, I can't solve this, but hope you can. I've no other ideas. Surprisingly, when he quit, the client suddenly cooperated. Admitting you're not all powerful actually builds client trust. All right, that's part 2, how consultants solve problems. Follow 2 core principles and a 3-step process. Principle 1. Problems can never be fully solved. Learn to coexist with problems. This applies to consultants too. Learn to employ compromise solutions. In problem solving, consultants first identify issues, then define solution paths. Finally, implement solutions. When clients follow advice but solutions fail, what should consultants do? That brings us to part 3. How do consultants handle failure? The author's advice falls into 2 categories: prevention beforehand and remediation after. How to prevent failure? First, phase projects. Experienced consultants gauge scope upon accepting work. Can I truly handle this? When uncertain, the author phases projects and charges per stage. If the second phase stalls, he'll withdraw at that stage. The new consultant won't need to repeat earlier successful phases. Clients won't discover at the last minute that the solution is useless. And second, prescriptions need instructions. What does that mean? Many failures stem from poor execution, not flawed solutions. Like patients stopping antibiotics early, disease rebounds. Thus, consultants must provide implementation guidance, even supervise execution. Third, prevention requires iterative refinement. Meaning, example, improving warehouse systems. Don't overhaul everything at once. Best approach, change one element at a time, like manual to machine scanning. Proceed only after confirming stability. With single element changes, issues are quickly traced and fixed. Some call this wasteful. The author agrees, but prefers this over costly, unfixable failures later. That wasted time means nothing. The author wryly notes, the surest way to waste time is abandoning caution. After prevention, let's discuss remediation. The author advises always creating backup plans alongside solutions. Back to warehouse systems, keep manual scanners connected as backup while implementing machine scanning. If machines fail, manual scanning prevents system paralysis. Concluding part 3. We've discussed handling failure. Caution is the best defense. Phase projects. Small, iterative steps prevent catastrophic failures through prevention. When presenting solutions, consultants must also explain how to implement them and oversee client execution. For remediation, The author advises having backup plans after delivering solutions. Beyond problem solving, the author offers self-improvement suggestions for consultants. This brings us to part 4. For consultants, beyond technical skills, 2 things matter: earning client trust and learning marketing. First, trust. Earning client trust is paramount. Trust takes years to build, but seconds to lose. Consulting's uniqueness: you rarely get second chances to prove trustworthiness. Once trust is broken, clients terminate contracts permanently. So how to earn trust? It's simple. Avoid tricks. Consistently demonstrate honesty. Many consultants obsess over overcoming every obstacle. Example: a client warned the author not to disturb a project manager during critical work, but the author focused on his goals, ignored the warning, and approached the manager. Though well-intentioned, the client saw it as sneaky trickery, utter dishonesty. Their collaboration ended immediately. Later, in a similar situation, he said, "I know his work is critical, but what if he gets sick? Would the project collapse?" The author stresses, voicing hidden concerns directly builds trust. But what if clients ask consultants to use dishonest tricks? Example: the author's task was publishing a full audit report to all employees. The client requested selective information filtering, which the author refused. Of course, that client never worked with him again. But the author believes if you refuse such requests, clients may remember your unwillingness to cooperate. But if you compromise on dishonest requests, people will remember you as untrustworthy. Once you create an untrustworthy impression, word spreads quickly. Soon everyone in the industry knows, ending your career. Beyond earning trust, learning marketing is equally vital. Even great products need visibility. This is the second self-improvement tip for consultants. For consultants, the best marketing tool is satisfied clients. They offer at least 2 advantages. First, they automatically promote you, bringing new clients. Second, when pitching to new clients, your satisfied clients become your best advertisements. For example, one client approached the author after working at a company he'd previously served. He was deeply impressed by the author's working style, so when needing consulting himself, he never considered anyone else. Beyond satisfied clients, another self-marketing method is staying visibly busy. A constantly busy consultant, even turning down work, signals exceptional skill. Clients will call you first for new projects, even if not immediately available. But consultants can't be so busy they miss great opportunities. Thus, the author suggests reserving 25% of your time to seize sudden opportunities and handle true emergencies, enhancing service quality. Finally, consultants should spend at least 1 day weekly on visibility. Post on social media, email past clients. Don't just work in isolation. In short, regularly showcase achievements to reinforce existing client relationships and reach potential ones. With this final section complete, the author has covered consultant self-improvement, building trust through honesty, and boosting visibility via success stories, busy schedules, and strategic exposure. All right, that covers the main content of this book. The secret of consulting isn't mysterious. It's about good relationships, problem-solving skills, and personal growth through challenges. Actually, this isn't just for consultants. Seeking and giving advice matters to everyone. Life is one problem after another. When to change jobs, buy a house, choose schools for kids, or win over clients at work. Whoa. These problems await your solutions. Make consultants' thinking inspire you. That's our interpretation of the secrets of consulting. Find notes below the audio. See you next time.